All right, it is noon. Time to get started. Welcome to our middle school ministry parents meeting. Thanks for joining me. My name is Mike Sheely. I'm the middle school pastor at Mount Pleasant Christian Church, and you're joining because you have a child, grandchild, somebody you care about who is going to be in fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth grade this fall. My goal is for those of you who are brand new to our ministry to share with you some basics that you kind of know how we function, how to be best connected, how we can resource you and support you. And if you've been around for a while, if you've got a child going into sixth, seventh, or eighth grade, and you've been with us already for a year or more, I get to let you know about some things that have been changing over the last year and some things that we have in place for this year. You can leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll see those and put those up here. We also have a special page set up with a website called Aha Slides, where you can go in and you can add a question through that site, and I'll see those, moderate those, and I'll bring those up on screen at the end of our time together. My goal is to really get through this in about 45 minutes or so, and then to answer questions at the end and to have you out a little bit early, which I think we all would like. So here we go. Yes, it's all working. All right. There's a reminder, the AHA Slides link. I'll put that up on the screen so you can see that and have things ready to go during the service. Hoping that's working for you okay. You should be able to see that. And then we will kind of go through. Here's how I want you to start today. Help us all kind of focus. I want you to, what away. I want you to remember when you were in middle school. So when were you in grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, or grade 8? Some of you, that may be a really fun time, really good memories. Others of you, that might be actually bad memories, something that you don't want to remember. But we want to focus on this because when kids get into these grades, one of the things I get asked by parents is, why do they act like this? Why do they do what they do? And my best answer is usually because they're in middle school. That's what students do. Your body goes through so many changes when you're a toddler, and it goes through that same level of change when you're in middle school. And if you think back to the things you experienced in middle school, hopefully that'll make your kids make a little bit more sense to you. You may not like it, but you may understand it better. They also may have a total different experience than you. And in that case, well, at least get in the mindset of what it's like to be 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14 years old, because middle school is going to be in those ages. Let me get something here. Okay. So, as we move through today, I want to start by giving you a good big picture of what our ministry looks like, and then work through some changes and finish up by giving you some resources. So, first off, here, our weekend service. This is usually the thing that people have the most questions about. They want to know what's going on in the weekend service. And so our church, Mount Pleasant Christian Church, has 3 services: Saturday at 6, Sunday at 9 and 10:45. And our middle school ministry, we have one service Sunday at 9 o'clock in the Student Ministry Center. We've done services at all the different service times before. We found that most students like to come at the same service when all their friends are there. And so we offer this one service at 9 o'clock. Doors do open at 8:30, so you can drop your kids off and then head over to serve or to drop your younger kids off. We open early on purpose so that you can then go over to Bibleopolis if you need to. And then we have games open. They check in with the 4 digits of your main home phone number. So whatever that number is what we usually have in the system. You can drop them off at the door. They check in. They kind of hang out and play games. We get started at 9 o'clock, usually with some kind of a large group game. Everybody's sitting at a table most weekends, and those tables have 4 chairs at it, and they have a little cup that says either grade 5, 6, 7, or 8. Whatever grade they're going to be in this fall is what table they'll go to. They get to know some friends. They can look for some friends. They're all sitting around people their age. And again, sometimes we play games that are icebreakers to help them get to know people at their table or in the room. Sometimes it's a fun game that connects directly with our lesson, and sometimes it just gets them up and gets them moving, wakes them up, and gets them ready to go. We then have live worship led by Zach Chapman, one of our worship pastors, and a team of students who are on that worship team. We then have communion and offering. There's some teaching. It's interactive. We let them ask questions. They use AHA slides to submit questions like you guys are using today. And then we have a challenge of something to put into practice what they've learned. We pray, and then that group resets the room and gets all the chairs and things reorganized so it's ready to go for the high school service, which means we try every week to be done at 10:15. It doesn't matter when the main service is done. We're done at 10:15. So if service runs long, then the kids get to hang out and play some extra games while we're waiting for service to finish up. If service gets out early, then you get to sit in your car and kind of relax while you wait for us to get out. That's kind of how it works. We're consistent 10:15 every week. That means you don't have to rush out as service is going long. Stay for the service, be a part of it, participate in it, and then come on over when you're done. We do allow students to walk across the street back to the main building. We do that in one group, and we have an officer who comes out and helps direct traffic to make sure they're safely going across. The key is if you want your child to walk across the street, make sure they know that's what's expected. Make sure you know where to meet them and that they know where to meet you, whether that's the worship center, the Commons, Bibleopolis, whatever that is. Make sure you have a plan for your family ahead of time. Keep in mind weather. Sometimes people drop their kids off and forget that it's raining and they don't have a rain jacket to get back across the street. They're middle schoolers. They probably won't care, but just kind of make sure you have that kind of communicated out. Otherwise, you're welcome to drive over and pick them up and head on over and what you have for the rest of the day from there. That's our weekend service. We meet almost every week. There are some weekends we have what we call Worship Together weekends. We set these up in partnership with Pastor Chris Philbeck because we wanted the students to see what a regular service is like. We wanted students to be in with their family and see that church is more than just middle schoolers. We wanted them to see what the regular worship is like, to hear from Chris, Matt, Andrew, the other people who are preaching in the main service. So about 8 to 10 times a year we have these. We do communicate that ahead of time. One of those coming up is Memorial Day weekend. And then our big back to school weekend at the end of July, we'll have students in the service for that as well. I'm currently building a teaching team. I don't want it to be just me teaching students over here. I want them to have other voices, want to equip other people with opportunity to teach. And so I'm currently recruiting and looking for a few different adults to be part of that teach team. They could be young adults in college, could even be high school students. They don't have to be parents. It has to be someone who likes middle schoolers and wants to like teaching them. I would like to have a team of 4 or 5 people, 2 male, 2 female, that would rotate with me. We would each teach about once a month to be in front of the students. So if that's something that interests you or you know someone you want to recommend them to me, please reach out and let me know. I'm building that team and would love to have it in place in August as school starts to be able to make that rotation a regular part of what we do over here. All right, just a reminder, you can submit questions through AHA slides. I will get to those. If I don't answer what I'm saying in the meeting today, then we'll get those knocked out and communicated to you later. As we go through things today, I want to make sure that I share with you something that's really important, but what I'm about to say may bother some of you because it is emotional. And that is in our ministry, every year, we have this like 25 to 50% change because every year the 8th graders are moving up to high school. And then every year a new group of 5th graders are coming in from 4th grade. And so we have 3 grades that are sticking with us, but 1 grade that's leaving, 1 grade that's coming in. It's a lot of change. It also means a lot of complicated things to communicate, to keep organized in our database. So what we have landed on that seems to work the smoothest for us is emotional. So let me share it with you. It's this. We list a lot of what we do by graduation year, which probably sounds crazy if your child is in 4th grade, but this is the way we can keep track of everything that's going on. Some of you are like, I haven't even thought about that. Well, we're going to put it on screen, maybe a little painful, but if you currently have someone in 8th grade going into 8th grade, the class of 2028, going into 7th grade, class of 29, going into 6th grade, a new decade, 2030, and going into 5th grade, class of 2031. The reason this is so important is we're going to be sharing you more information about how we communicate with parents and students, how we organize our small groups, how we communicate with email, and all of that. You're going to be checking off a box for what year your child graduates. That's how we keep it all sorted and not have to restart every year. So it saves you a little bit of work on the year-to-year basis, but it is a little bit emotional. I will tell you, Now that I've had two of my kids graduate, and my youngest is a sophomore in high school right now, that time with them is important. And keeping in mind how much time you have left until they graduate and move to the next phase of life is important to take advantage of the time you have. So hopefully this will help you with that and not be too disturbing. That being said, one of our main ways we communicate with parents is through our email. We use MailChimp and we organize it based on graduation year. That way I can send something out and say, hey, we have something special going on for parents just of fifth grade. Or this time of year, hey, parents of eighth graders, we're getting ready to move your students into high school in June. Here's some information just for you. So we're able to send out, most of our emails come out every week, let you know what's happening in the service, share some resources with you. And it goes out to all the parents who have children fifth through eighth grade. However, sometimes we need to send specialized things out, and the way you sign up and get that set up works pretty easily. If you've already been in Bibleopolis, we probably have your information. You probably already heard from me. That's how you got to be part of the meeting today. But if you have somebody else who wants to get plugged in, mpcc5678.com is kind of our parent hub website, and then /parents is where you can find the email information. I'm also going to send all these links out to you after the video. And so by signing up, you'll get those emails and those links. You don't have to worry about making sure you get that all written down or try to plug it in now while you're watching this. One of the tools that we use is called Remind, and you may have heard of this if you have kids in school that are part of clubs or extracurricular activities, or maybe a teacher uses it to communicate with her class. Remind is a great tool designed for teachers or anybody who's in some kind of authority position to communicate safely and transparently with students and their parents. The reason I want to let you know about this is we are taking a step in a new direction to add better communication with parents and students. There's just times on the weekends where I'll mention a resource and kids will say, hey, how do we get that? Or where can we find that? Because you can just Google and find all kinds of stuff. But I want students to know about reliable, trustworthy resources when it comes to their faith. Well, here's the deal. When it comes to school, we know that not every kid brings home to their parents all the stuff they're supposed to bring home. But I've also found out that not every parent shares with their child what we email and send home with the parent. So we're going to use this resource Remind in a new way this year to help communicate with everybody. It's going to look like this. We're going to give you some links in the email, and you'll have a PDF like this that you can download, and it walks you through instructions. There's 8 of these, though, because we're going to have 8 different groups for our weekend service: 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, boys and girls. And it walks you through how to get connected based on which one applies to your group. Because it might be that, hey, this Sunday after service, the 8th grade guys and girls are going to have an end of the year lunch and they're going to meet in the student ministry. Well, we only want to communicate that to people that have 8th graders. It may be that, hey, next week, all the 5th grade boys want to dress up like superheroes. And so we're communicating that out to everybody. Who knows? It could be. It's middle school. And so we're going to use these Remind groups to be able to do that for our weekend services. We also might want to send out an encouragement note that follows up with our lesson or what we talked about. Or maybe we talked about respecting authority. And so on Wednesday, we send a message out to all the students, just says, hey, remember our lesson. Today, when you're interacting with teachers and coaches and parents, be sure to show respect. And it's just a little reminder we can send out to help them out. When you get the paper, it looks like this. The very top shows you how to download the Remind app. As a parent and as a youth pastor, I encourage you as a parent to get the Remind app. It's the best way to keep all this organized. At one point, I had groups in Remind for 3 different kids in 3 different schools with different extracurricular activities. If it would have been going through my regular phone or email, it would have been nuts. But in Remind, I could easily see which group was sending out what information. It kept it all nice and organized for me. I didn't accidentally message the wrong group back. It was great. And so check out that Remind app. It's free. It works really well. If you don't have a smartphone or you want your child to access this on a regular phone, it does have instructions on using a short code to get that joined. And by the way, I don't think kids should have cell phones till 8th grade, or social media till then. Definitely not smartphones until 8th grade or high school. That's a whole nother conversation to have. But developmentally, there's reasons for that. And so if you are like, yeah, I actually want my kid to be a part of this, but I don't want them to use a phone, Cool. At the very bottom, they have a way you can sign up for email notifications or it'll email them whatever I send out. So no matter what kind of access they have to technology, they'll be able to stay connected to our ministry. And this is fully transparent. You can always look at what we're sending them. There's nothing hidden there. It keeps open and honest communication, and it's not a group chat. It's me sending information out from our ministry to these specific groups. It is not them responding. We use that for our small groups, but not in a large group like this. Okay. I hope that made some kind of sense to you. What we want to move into now is talking about some things that have been changing in our ministry that are especially important if you have a child in fourth grade going into fifth grade and they have expectations from older siblings or things they've heard, because some things have changed a lot in the last 12 months. It also is important if you have a child who's older than fifth grade so that they know what to expect and what's going to be different for them versus the younger students for this school year. One of the things I noticed when I moved here 15 years ago was a lot of these schools had academies. Southport, Perry have a sixth grade academy, and middle school North and Central don't have a sixth grade academy. But if you go to the school, most of those students are in one hallway. Most of their classes are together, they're teamed together. And so I began to study that and see if we could learn from it. Here's what I've learned. It works great. It helps students adjust to life as a middle schooler before being fully diving into everything that's going on. So we're going to do that with our fifth graders. We're going to have kind of a fifth grade academy. They're over here for the weekend service. They're a part of what we do every Sunday at 9 o'clock. Fifth grader in the mix along with sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. It's awesome. It's fun. It's just like first through fourth grade. And it's just like ninth through 12th grade. It's just the middle of those areas. But what we're changing is how they interact outside of that weekend service. So one of those things, this is a crazy looking graphic. This is from Superstart. It's a conference put on by an organization called Christ in Youth, or CIY, in Joplin, Missouri. You may have heard of them. They run the high school conference that we take students to in the summer and the middle school conference we take the older kids to in the summer. This event has been hosted at Traders Point Christian Church here in Indianapolis, and there's about 2,000 students there. We take a busload of fourth and fifth graders. So this is a partnership of our ministry and the children's ministry. Maybe you were a parent who sent your fourth grader last year in Bibleopolis. They get to go again this year as a fifth grader. If you sent a fifth grader last year, they're done. That's the end of the event. It's just 2 years for them. It's a powerful weekend of worship and games and music and fun and food and serving, all just for preteens. And so you'll probably get information around October and November. That's when we get the dates. And the event happens in late February, early March. And it's an overnight event, Friday night to Saturday. A lot of fun and something we're doing just for fifth grade, but we're bringing alongside fourth graders to kind of bridge that gap from fourth to fifth, children's ministry to student ministry. Worked great this past year. We're looking forward to doing it again. Now, for the older students, in October or late September, we go to Camp Allendale and have a fall retreat that's a small groups retreat. So if a student has been involved in small groups, August and September, this is a great retreat to continue to build those relationships. If they haven't been involved yet, then we will connect them to a small group, because no one goes to the event outside of a small group, and they might start getting plugged in from there. It's a great way to begin to get connected. They get to do things they haven't gotten to do when they were younger, paintball and zip line. We have a campfire together. There's a time of worship. It's a very relaxed weekend to enjoy creation, to slow down, take a breath, and really connect and be present with other students their age in their small group and their small group leaders. We'll have more information for this this summer. Definitely by the time school starts in August, we'll kind of ramp this up and get it going. We'll have the dates for you for sure in June. Now, summer camp is an area where we've made a change for this summer, and it affects students going forward, so you should know this. Our Camp Allendale summer camp is now for students currently in grades 2, 3, and 4 who will be third, fourth, and fifth graders starting in June. And so we'll take them to Camp Allendale. That means that fifth graders, they get the blob, they get some more activities like the climbing tower, and they're going to have their own small group of just fifth graders. But our worship, our main sessions will all be third, fourth, and fifth grade together. It'll be a really fun camp. It's a great partnership. Dustin Hart, who works in our youth sports program and sports program at the CLC, partners with me. And to be honest, the last couple of years, he's carried the first couple of days when our events overlapped. So big shout out to Dustin. And then we partner with Amanda and Chris Franklin. Amanda Snow and Chris Franklin in our children's ministry, and run just an amazing week. It is so much fun. I learned a lot when I first got here 15 years ago and been learning as we've been working on it ever since. Great, great summer camp, but just for students going into third, fourth, and fifth grade. For students who are currently in fifth grade or sixth or seventh, we're taking a group of 150 this year, about 130 students, about 20 adult leaders to Country Lake Christian Retreat Center in Underwood, Indiana, for this amazing event called Mix. It's designed by CIY, or Christ in Youth, just for middle school students. And this event is so much fun. The kids get to do more than they would do at Allendale. For example, they love the blob and all the water activities, but usually part of the camp gets to do time at Lake at Allendale. At this event, we're going to be one of about 13 to 14 churches, so about 500 people, leaders, and students at this event, and they all can do the lake at the same time because they have that much space and that many lifeguards and that much staff. And it has a blob, it has a water trapeze, it has a water zip line, a water slide, kayaking, canoeing, swimming, all kinds of fun. There's a small pool if they want to do that. There's a trail they can hike. They get to pick elective activities like axe throwing or archery, zip line, high ropes, or paintball. And at Mix, they get a lot more freedom. We're going to give our sixth graders kind of that hybrid approach where they get some limitations and they're in their small group. But seventh and eighth grade have a lot of freedom throughout the day to get to do certain activities. We just tell them, hey, stay in groups of three. That way you always know what's going on. You're always at the right place. And then make sure you're seated with us for the large group time for worship and main sessions. And they have a small group time during the day where there'll be about 16 students and two leaders kind of being with them together for conversation and discussion. Amazing event, highlight of the year. First time we're taking 3 charter buses full of people to this event, and it's just going to get bigger next year. One of the things that we added this year is a more intentional partnership with our impact sites, impact campuses. And so the Love Your Neighbor event, if you participated in that, help them with their spring programs they had going on. We really encourage you as a family to get involved and serve that way. We're not always going to do a separate program or event where we take students to those places and serve that way, but we're going to make sure that you know about it from a church standpoint and get plugged in. We are looking at some ways to have our students help out. The high school ministry small groups rotate and take turns serving at places like Impact Fairfax, and we're going to do the same thing with our middle school students. We're just trying to figure out what makes the most sense and how could they serve in a way that is safe and appropriate, but it's a good, challenging way for them to be a part of the kingdom of God, bigger than just what's happening here at our Greenwood campus. Starting point is something that we have done before, and it kind of took a back seat this last year. We did a lot of one-on-one meeting with individual families. We're bringing back this class or session, whatever you want to call it, again this year. Starting this summer, there'll be a monthly meeting, usually 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, where you sign up, you come on in, and we work through what is sin, forgiveness, repentance, what is baptism, what does it mean to be forgiven, to receive the Holy Spirit, what do you wear when you get baptized, where do you go, what do you say, what does it mean to follow Jesus. We cover as much as we can in an hour. In fact, if you want to see what we talk about, there's a video of a starting point teaching that I recorded on our YouTube channel. But the difference is if you just watch the video, you don't get to interact. And when we have it live in person, I ask questions, the kids ask me questions, the parents get to ask questions. And the goal is not that when this is done, this is like some kind of a class where you check it off and go get baptized. This is making sure that as a family, you understand what it means to follow Jesus and that your child understands that. Then, when you go back home and have conversations and you say, hey, my son, my daughter is ready now to get baptized, then we schedule it, we make it happen. But this is a chance to kind of have that conversation, talk about it all at once, and work it out together. So be watching for that coming this summer and then every month throughout the school year. To keep all this straight, you need a good calendar. Well, what we've done to help you out is we've created a calendar you can subscribe to. And so you'll get on your calendar, whether you use it on your phone or your tablet, your computer, you'll be able to digitally see, oh, worship together this weekend. Oh, hey, registration's opening up next week for Mix. All kinds of little things that are helpful reminders on you that are in that calendar. And so you can go to that page, mpcc5678.com/events, and subscribe to our calendar and know what is going on when. Whew, that's a lot. Okay, Now to one of my favorite parts of our ministry that's changed over the last few years and is really becoming a core of what we do to help students with their faith. And that is our small groups. Small groups for us are 8 to 12 students with 2 leaders. Leaders would be high school and an adult, or 2 young adults, or 2 adults that would be leading those students, same gender, meeting together to help students really own their faith, to really build close relationships, to get to know each other, to have fun together, to serve together, to be there for them. We'll have anywhere from 80 to over 100 students on a given weekend here. I can't connect with all of them in person. It's not even healthy to try. But in a small group, those leaders can connect with the students and connect with you as the parents. It's a real core. Groups are a core of what we do here at Mount Pleasant, and they're a core of what we do in our middle school ministry. So just so you know, our small groups are broken down by the same grade. I know students have friends in other grades. That's totally cool. But if we're going to track with them, our goal is that group would be together from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. They need to be able to track with somebody who's in the same grade as them. And so if they've got some friends in the same grade that are here, cool. If not, it's a great way to make some friends in the same grade. These groups are divided by the same gender because, in case you didn't know that, a 6th grade boy and an 8th grade girl have very different conversations usually. I know there's exceptions, but in 25 years of youth ministry and 15 years here at Mount Pleasant, it continues to be the case that 5th grade boys, 8th grade girls, 7th grade girls, 6th grade guys, however you want to break it down, there's a big difference in what they talk about, how they act. And so we give these small groups that specific breakdown. The small group meetings meet on a weekly basis from August to April, and they meet for about 90 minutes a week. And so that's enough time for them to connect, have a snack. Students break up the responsibilities of bringing either a snack or a drink each week. They play a game together. They have a discussion. We literally put the conversation in the students' hands. Instead of a small group leader, if you think like old Sunday school model of like the teacher giving the lesson and then asking students to answer, we really want students to be actively learning. And so we use an app called Convos on an iPad where it may say, hey, give this iPad to somebody who loves popsicles. Well, then whoever loves popsicles most in the small group gets the iPad. They tap the next button and it tells them, hey, have everybody open up to the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Once everybody's there, read verses 10 through 16. Okay, everybody get your Bibles out. And the student is doing this. The student is saying, hey, I love popsicles. And we're going to read the Bible together. So get your Bible out, find Matthew, find chapter 5. We're going to read it together. And then the student reads. When they're done, it says tap next. They tap next, and it says give it to the student who had a extracurricular activity this week, whether it's a play, robotics competition, or a sport. So they give it to somebody who had one, and they pick it up, and it says, okay, ask your group this question and pick 3 people to answer. So they ask the question, and 3 people answer. The adult is there the whole time to kind of monitor and encourage and make sure things go well, but it really makes the students active participants in the conversation. It gives them some responsibility. It's amazing. It does so well. So we love having that time to do that. And they usually close in prayer together. Um, One unique thing about our group is that they're like a lot of the church groups. They meet in homes. We want students to not be distracted by other groups. We want them to be able to have a place they can connect with people. And so about half our groups meet in a home that is the home of one of the small group leaders. They want to lead and host it. It works out really well. Everybody else just shows up at their house ready to go. The other groups meet in a home of somebody else who's not a leader. We have people in our church who want to use the gift of hospitality to host a group in their home. They're not leading. They just open their home up, provide a space for the group to meet, and are just some extra support there for the leaders. And it's a great, great thing. So we're currently setting up homes and leaders for our new incoming 6th grade groups. And so if you'd be interested in either hosting or being a leader, reach out to me and let me know. We're going to be doing some training this summer, both for hosts and for small group leaders, and getting all of that ready to go to launch in August. I will also say that this past year, all of our groups met on Sunday night, but every year we start with a clean slate. And we say, okay, small group leaders, talk to the students, talk to the parents, what day and time is best for you, and then lock that in. And so I know a couple of groups might be moving off of Sunday to a different time that works better. Just kind of know that there isn't a set day or time for this. It's whatever works best for the group, and they run it from there. All right. Okay. Now I want to share with you something that we are really excited about, and it literally is only a couple weeks old. We want students to be serving in ministry, not just participating in something that somebody else is doing. And so we created this form called the Middle School Ministry Serving Form that we shared out, and a few students have gone through it already. This link will be in what I send out to you. It's for the student to fill out, not for the parent. And it goes through and asks them four sets of questions. In fact, they answer one set of questions and they can take a break, or they can hit next and go on to the next set of questions. And it does through four forms. And it asks them, the first set of questions are all about what they're excited about. We might say as an adult what they have a heart for, what they're passionate about. But for a student, it's like, what are you really excited about? The next set of questions are all about abilities. What are things that you're really good at just naturally or that you've learned how to do? The third area is personality. Do you love to be around a lot of people or do you like to be more in the background or somewhere in between? And then the last set of questions are experiences. What kind of things, good and bad, have you experienced? Because there are times where you just have to do what needs to be done. You just got to go do some kind of a project because it needs to be done and we're going to go serve. But there's times where you can pick a way to serve that's a great fit for how you're wired and how God is shaping you. And we want students to be able to pursue that. So for some students, that might mean that they end up teaching on stage or being part of our worship team. Others might end up over in Bibleopolis serving with preschoolers or with little elementary kids. Some might be involved in our main worship service, whether that's in production, on stage, or the door is greeting people. And there might be students who fill out this and we go through it with them and we realize we don't actually have a ministry that's designed for what you have. We get to create something brand new so you can serve the kingdom. It's going to be awesome. So we love this. We're excited. It's really simple for the kids to fill out. We're learning a lot. You get copies of the stuff that comes back. It's a great way for them to plug in and get serving. And it stems out of this. I was at a conference a few weeks ago and they were talking about Luke 10 when Jesus sends out the 72. They're not really ready for ministry yet, right? It's an opportunity before they're fully ready. But the 72 come back. If you don't know about it, you can go check it out in Luke 10. And they serve and they're all excited and they're sharing with Jesus. And then he goes on to continue to train them more. We want to give middle school students the chance, not just to say to the church of today, but to let them be the church of today by serving. And for some students, they might actually get to follow Jesus after they've been serving and seeing what it's like to contribute to what's going on. And so this is a great way to do that. Part of this is giving students ownership and leadership in our ministry. So it's not just a middle school ministry for middle school students, but it's a middle school ministry designed by middle school students. I just met with a seventh grade girl this week and her mom and got some great feedback. Some things that I didn't even think about, some that we're going to make some changes this coming school year because of some of the thoughts that she had for helping her and both her Christian and non-Christian peers. And so we're going to be doing this. I don't know if this is going to be a formal leadership team, what all it's going to look like, but we are going to be getting middle school students the opportunity to share and speak into what we're doing and to own and lead that ministry. Part of that, in the most visible way, is that teaching team I talked about. I want to bring students along with that. Right now, and you can give me some feedback if you like this idea or think one of your kids might be interested. I'm looking at doing a 6-week training in the fall that would be walking students through how to prepare and teach a lesson. They can use this with a Bible club at their school or an FCA. They can use this with their team doing a devotion, with their family devotion. But they can use it on stage. And it may even be that I sit down and we do an interview style and I'm up on stage with them to help them relax and kind of guide them through giving that lesson. There's a lot of different ways to teach more than just standing up behind a pulpit. And so we want to show them that variety and give them some experience because I really believe there are some students who will be great in ministry, whether that's professionally or as volunteers. We want to give them a chance now to start serving and catch that vision and excitement, just like you do with everything from youth sports to different kinds of classes in school. So we're going to give that opportunity going forward. We come across some great resources for students. And it used to be I could send you to a local Christian bookstore or send you online to a website, but there's not many Christian bookstores around anymore, hardly any. And there's not a lot of websites where you won't just get lost at all the options of things to look for. So we like to recommend specific resources to students and to parents and make sure you know about those. Sometimes even have some on hand, and at the very least, give you links to be able to go and get those. The very first one I want to talk about is a Bible. I get asked all the time by parents, grandparents, whoever, if I was going to get my kid a Bible, what would I get them? And I always say a print hardback Bible. There's a lot of great technology out there, but bottom line is two things. Number one, there is not a good student Bible available either easily through a Bible app or digitally. You can get like an ebook or a PDF, but that's not really effective. And I tell students, listen, when I'm preparing my lesson at church, I've got some powerful software that has Greek and Hebrew and commentaries and resources and Bible translations, and it's awesome. But when I'm reading the Bible devotionally, for me to go closer to God, for me to journal and reflect and see what God has to say, I have a print Bible that I use, and I actually bring it in and teach out of it on the weekends. I don't know if it's old school or what it is, but I'm just telling you, I don't get tempted to go send a Bible image to somebody or to comment on somebody's verse or to see how many friends I have in the Bible app now. And I do them on my phone or my tablet. And so I recommend one of these Bibles if you have a student in fourth grade or fifth grade. The Boys Life Application Study Bible or Girls Life Application Study Bible are the top two I would pick. And I would get a hardback one. We want them to bring it to church every single Sunday, whether they're with us or in the main service. We encourage them to highlight, to underline, to make sketches or doodles in the margin, to really use their Bible to wear it out. And so they need that hardback cover for it to last. Now, if you have a kid who's in sixth, seventh, or eighth grade, or even high school, my favorite Bible to recommend is the Teen Life Application Study Bible. In fact, if you look behind me, I've got some rows of the boys and girls Bibles on my shelf, and I have a row of some of these Teen Life Application Study Bibles on my shelf. They're about $20. Like, we buy them in bulk amounts to make them available for you. All you gotta do is either send the money with your kid for a weekend service or stop by before or after service. You can get one for me. It's $20, real simple. It's a New Living Translation. It's what we use most middle school students. Very accurate. You'll find the accuracy is comparable to the NIV. At the same time, I think it reads easier and makes more sense, especially for a middle schooler, than the NIV does. It still has some kind of academic sounding language that isn't how we normally read or talk. And the NLT was written to be read, to make sense out loud. And so we use that one with them. I will say, as a side note, if you haven't heard of the Easy English Bible, Easy English 2018, it's available in the Bible app and on a website. It's designed with only 1,200 vocabulary words and no idioms. So anybody with learning disabilities, with special needs that needs a good Bible translation, that's a good one we've been using and kind of supplementing to help people out with as a resource just to share with you. I don't know that it's in print copy yet, but there are digital versions available. Another resource I want to go full screen here and show you is I get asked once they have a Bible, then where do we start reading? Like, what do we do from there? So we put together 5 reading plans that we have on paper or PDF. These are always available every week here in the Student Ministry Center. We also will send you a link in that email where you can download these. And it's really, really simple. If you look at them, it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So the 4 gospels and stories of the life of Jesus and his ministry, and the book of Acts, which tells how his ministry was handed over to the disciples and what the Holy Spirit did through people in the early church. None of these squares have dates on them or numbers. We tell the students that they should scan a QR code, and that QR code will take them to a video from Bible Project. Either gives you an overview of the entire book that they're reading, or gives them an overview of a certain section they're about to read. And then we say just cross it off or color it in. When you read that box, cross it off, color it in, and then when you come back again, whether it's tomorrow or 2 days from now or a week from now, pick up with where you left off and keep reading. The goal is to develop a habit of reading your Bible so you can get to know Jesus better, not to be perfect at reading every day or how much you read. I'll tell you that if they read, 5-10 minutes a day is all it takes to work through one of these books in a month. And imagine if in the course of your child's 4 years in our middle school ministry, if twice a year they read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts, even if once a year they read that for 4 years, that has to be a way God plants seeds and changes their lives and makes a difference. I mean, as adults, not many adults I know have read through one of the Gospels in its entirety recently, much less all 4 Gospels in the book of Acts. You might even put one of these up and make it a family thing where everybody's reading it together. One of the things that we like, and I have, sorry, I wasn't thinking about it. I have a copy over here of these manga Messiah and Metamorphosis books. These are graphic novels, like Japanese comic style, of the four gospels and the book of Acts. And we encourage students that, man, if you're just not into regular reading, get one of those. We have a few copies here. We have a lot of Acts because we just got ready to do that here this spring. And we got a few of the Messiah, which is all four gospels in one together. Those are great books to help kids get into reading the Bible from a visual standpoint. And every page has where you can go to read the rest of the story in the text version of the Bible. So check that out. Another resource I want you to see is our habits. These are like spiritual disciplines. There's 6 of them we talk about with middle schoolers: hanging out with Jesus, so reading the Bible, getting to know him; attending church, being here regularly and contributing; being generous. Obviously, at Mount Pleasant, that's a big deal, but being generous with what they have to give; investing in healthy friendships, which is a key in middle school; telling my story, what God's been doing; and then serving others, which we talked about before with that app that we're really excited about. This is all available at mpcc5678.com/habits. We even have a teaching video that goes along with each of these 6 habits, as well as links for resources that they can use with that. I taught that series a couple of years ago. I'm getting ready to reteach it this year, so we'll have some fresh videos we'll be putting out. That's a resource students can use anytime. I always encourage students, if they've been baptized, they should check out that page and begin to develop some of these habits to grow in their faith. They're even good habits to start figuring out now while they're getting to know Jesus if they haven't been baptized yet. All right, that's students. Now, how about some resources for you as a parent? One of my favorite resources that I think parents should all check out is called the Phase Guide. There are one of these phase guides. There is one of these phase guides for every age from birth all the way up through senior in high school. The 4 that I always focus on are obviously 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You can find them at phaseguides.com. And they're very small books that have space for you to write and reflect with some guided questions. And listen, I would encourage you, check these out. But if you have multiple kids, you don't have to buy like multiple sets. Buy one set and have like a journal or a little notebook and answer the questions they talk about in a different notebook for each kid. And that way you can kind of think about and process through without buying a new copy every year. And if you want to see what these look like, inside the Community Life Center, right when you walk inside to your right, is our family resource wall. We have images and things that are important on screen. We have handouts that we put in the baskets there on the wall. We also have a copy of each of these phase guides from birth all the way through 12th grade. You can check out at any time and see what would be involved if you wanted to get one of those. Those are just phenomenal resources. I think they're really, really helpful. And I think that that would alone help you out more than anything else because it walks you through what books is my kid going to be reading, either because they might enjoy it at this age or because it might be required for schooling at this age. It talks about when it comes to sexual purity, what should you be talking about at each age level? It talks about things like chores and responsibility, what's normal at each age level. And it helps you out with that to see what is normal at this age or what should be normal. It kind of challenges you as a parent to where should you be having conversations and investing in your kid at each age level. And it makes it really bite-sized and simple to work through in the course of 12 months. So check those out, either to wrap up this current school year or to get started for the next school year. I do want to say one note about social media. Social media can be used for good or for bad. But when it comes to students, think it's important to respect the rules that are out there and what we think is best. So we don't do almost any social media for middle school students because we think that before they're 13, they shouldn't have any social media. When they're 13, 14 years old, around 8th grade, they should get their first social media account. And if it's Instagram and you have Instagram, you should be their follower. They should follow you. You monitor and teach them how to use social media, how to deal with the negativity and the bad side of it, how to work through and use it for good as an encouraging source. And so when you look on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whenever you see MPCC 5678, it's going to be aimed almost always at you, the parent. So I just wanted you to know that as you're looking out there, that's what you'll kind of see from us. Along that line, we also have this group on Facebook for 5678 parents at Mount Pleasant Christian Church. So where you can share questions and things privately. No one else is going to see except whoever's in that group. You can share resources with each other. It's not a page, so nobody else can just hop onto it. You have to be approved to join the group. What we'd like to do is make this a real core part of our ministry. And so what I'm looking for is somebody who would want to take that on as a ministry to other parents. And so if you know somebody who isn't just like always on social media, but that uses it to encourage and to help, and they might be good at this, then let me know. Or if that's you, reach out and let me know. I really want to put a parent or two in charge of that and let them run with it and really make that a strong part of our ministry for community, for parents to share resources, questions, and answers and encouragement as we help students move through the middle school years. Now, some of you are already there, but we have a YouTube channel set up, and we put content both for parents and for students on there. When it's for students, we mark it as made for kids, so it shows up in the kids app. If you have your settings in your device that where you monitor YouTube, and if your kids are on YouTube, you should monitor it. There is some amazing, just hilarious, fun, entertaining content on YouTube. There's some really good, encouraging, and edifying content, and of course, there's some bad content. And you won't know that unless you're just keeping an eye on it and being smart with how you let your kid use it. I will tell you that on YouTube, we divide things up by playlist and share things that way with students. Um, to show you a few examples of what we have on our channel, we have a next gen team. So everybody who works with birth through 12th grade, we meet together once a week. We made a video on parenting wins, like worshiping together. Why it's such a big win for a parent for your kids to see you worshiping. And there in that video, you see our high school pastor, myself, and Amanda, our elementary director, all kind of sharing in that conversation. We have another video by parents that talk about the transition going from elementary school to middle school. If you're a parent of a fifth grader, I highly suggest you hop on and watch this video. What these three share about that transition is just gold to help you get ready for middle school. In the same way, we interviewed some students and said, hey, when you move into middle school, help us with that conversation, help us with that for other students. And we have that video. And then we made this video, and it so far is our most popular one with over 3,500 views. I mentioned that we have in our service cups with different grades on it. Those cups have colored pens and highlighters in it. We challenge and encourage students to be highlighting and marking up the Bibles where they're brought one from home or they're borrowing one from our room while we have a service. That active learning helps so much. And so it teaches you what the colors mean, how to use those. It's been really popular with a lot of people. And so that's something that if you're like, why is your note page so colored up? Well, at least they're doodling that helps them focus more than if they were daydreaming. But if you want to know what they were supposed to be doing, then this video will walk you through that. And that's a part of our channel. All right. On both the social media platforms and on the AHA Slides site, no one has put any questions. And so we are right under about 15 minutes, right under the hour mark. Um, if you have any thoughts or questions, you can pop those in now and let me know. I want to let you know, as kind of a closing remark, that I see what we do here as a partnership. God gave parents responsibility to raise kids, but never alone, always as a part of a community. And so we want to come alongside parents, whether it's with resources, encouragement, our worship services, conversation, recommending out to counselors, whatever it is we can do. We want to help you to be a better parent with your kids, especially through the middle school years. Whether you think it or not, your middle schooler is looking to you as their primary influence and example. Now, that will begin to diminish during the middle school years and especially into high school, but they're always still watching and they see your example. So it's really important that we do this well. And I want to help you with that in this ministry. I benefited from my kids coming through Mount Pleasant Christian Church and being a part of this, and I hope that yours will as well. That email will come out with some more resources to help you out and links that we shared in this video today. Thank you for tuning in, for making time for this. Gosh, may God bless you. The sun is shining today. It's a beautiful day. There's more opportunities to get to know and to follow Jesus and to help students with that. Oh, that's big. I meant to shout out Rachel's little comment here. Oh, it went away. Very helpful information. Well, thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. That's our goal, is that this would be a helpful resource for you. And be watching. What we've decided to do this school year is to do some more of these live stream meetings, but shorter ones on a more regular basis. My goal is probably every 2 months to have a little 30-minute meeting where I come on and maybe share some resources and some teaching with you as a parent, and where you can hop in and leave comments or questions and live interact. My goal would be that I'll clear off an hour of my calendar. My teaching part of it will be 30 minutes, and then you can interact and share things, and I'll stick around for at least an hour. We want to resource you and help you out as a parent as best we can. We thank you for being a part of this. That looks like that's it for right now. Be watching for an email sometime tomorrow that'll have those links and things for you, maybe even sooner. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. I appreciate you, and may God bless you and your family.